So a couple weeks ago, I created a poll asking you guys what's the most controversial One Piece opinions y'all ever got. And today we're gonna go over them. I'm gonna give my opinion and see what's going on. Okay, we got the classic Enel versus Kizaru, very base death battle opinion that isn't a god-awful matchup that no one should ever talk about ever, but you know, it's fine. Okay, so I put two of my personal opinions. The one I'm probably more known for is that I think Mihawk is probably the strongest character alive right now, besides probably Emu, who we know nothing about. There is a case to be made for other characters. I think there's a case to be made for Dragon, Shanks, Luffy, Blackbeard, Akainu, probably not Aokiji, but all those characters, there's a case to be made for them being the strongest alive. Personally, I have Mihawk just for a variety of different reasons. Strongest blade in the world, world's strongest swordsman. I think he's really broken strong and really underrated. Could be anything really. And the other opinion I gave is that I think Lucci, Law, Kid, Zoro, Sabo, Marco, and probably Yamato are all Admiral level. So this is a bit harder now that I think about it. I don't think Lucci's Admiral level is what he showed. I just believed he was Admiral level because I don't think they would have had a character show up and then like just get jobbed when he's a fan favorite villain. I think that would be really weird. Turns out that's exactly what happened, even though he did handle himself okay. He only had a few scratches after the fight with Luffy, so he got no real permanent damage. Marco also is a character that probably he edges it a little bit. I do think he's underrated. The thing about Marco is that he has some stats that are Admiral to Yonko level, so his speed and durability is insanely good. Probably the best out of any of these characters. It's just his attack potency isn't really up there. I will say to have the power to overpower Kizaru, even if you didn't damage him, requires at least a decent amount of strength. And I could honestly see him beating most other like Yonko first commanders. I could see him being Katakuri King. I could see him beating Magellan. I could see him maybe being Lucci, but it's hard to say. Everyone else I'm pretty okay saying is Admiral level. Law and Kid, I fucking defend that shit to the grave. Law and Kid are Admiral level. Zoro pretty clearly is Admiral level at this point. And I think if you think Zoro's Admiral level, you should probably think Yamato's Admiral level. Sabo's the only really weird one. He doesn't really have the feats to speak of, but the Flame Emperor stuff, the way he's being hyped up, his narrative arc, I think Sabo could be considered a low Yonko level character. All right, first from my boy Makike. I think Wano's in the top 2 arcs in One Piece. I even like its ending. Yeah, I think it's in my top 3. I think there's a lot of really good things about it. I love Zoro versus King. I love Robin versus Black Maria. There are some things I do have complaints about. I feel like the Kaido fight could have ended better. I love Gear 5, don't get me wrong. Not a huge fan of Badgering Gun, if that's how it's pronounced. But you know, it's fine. I did like Big Mom versus Kid and Law, even though a lot of people did not like that fight. I think Law and Kid's Awakenings are so sick and they're really underrated. So yeah, I think it's a great arc. I don't think it's really as good as Marineford and Enies Lobby, which I have in my top 2 arcs. The old era is so overrated. The new era is made to surpass the old one and people still can't seem to accept it. You'd say that Blackbeard is stronger than Roger and One Piece fans would go crazy. Yeah, because Blackbeard hasn't really shown anything to be stronger than Roger. He wasn't really a match for Sengoku, older Sengoku, before he got the Guragura. His entire crew got one shot by Magellan before he got the Guragura. And I know he's trained with the Guragura, so he should be stronger, but like, man, the way he's fighting Law right now, can you really say like that he's like Roger level? I think saying he's stronger than Roger is like a pretty insane statement. My main argument about the old generation being really strong is that they had to deal with each other. We hear the stories about how Garp and Roger fought all the time, and we know how strong Prime Garp and Prime Roger are. There are some new generation characters that I think you can make an argument for to be like pretty strong in their own right. I would say those are characters like Dragon, Mihawk, and Shanks. I mean, even look at Kaido's like ranking of all the characters, right? He literally ranked like, was it 4 out of 5 of his characters they think are super broken were from the older generation? Wasn't it Odin, Rocks, Whitebeard, and Roger? So it's hard to say. I feel like Oda does build up the old generation to be really broken as well. So that's just my opinion, but Garp couldn't have killed Akainu and Akainu over old Whitebeard. This is a fine take, I think. I love Garp. I do think he could have had a chance against Akainu, especially as Akainu was fighting a lot already. To say he's over old Whitebeard, I think current Akainu probably is. Haki blooms in combat, and he had like a 10-day fight with fucking Aokiji, who was probably to an extent his equal. I think Akainu gets a little underrated because of how much he's hated by people, and I think him and Aokiji are easily both Yonko level, but yeah, I can see him being stronger than old Whitebeard. All right, let's go through all of these. Ben Beckman above all the admirals is kind of maybe overrating him a little bit. It's really hard to say where Ben Beckman is. I always compare him to a Prime Rayleigh, which would be above all the admirals, I guess, but I feel very uncomfortable saying he's above like Aokiji and Akainu just because of like the way those characters have been presented. I think Luffy's already above Ben Beckman, and I think Luffy has to have a challenge against Akainu, so it's hard to say. But Ben Beckman I do think is very underrated. I think he's probably around Kizaru's strength. maybe stronger, maybe around Odin's strength for all we know. Like, I think Ben Beckman can be insane. Enel's fodder, yeah, fucking dog shit character. Mihawk stomps Shanks' face into the ground. No. No, he doesn't. If you think Mihawk is above Shanks, they're very close in strength. If I had to bet, Shanks' Griffon is probably the same grade level as Mihawk's Yoru. They're clear rivals. They're clearly like the Roger and Whitebeard of their time. I don't think Mihawk stomps Shanks' face into the ground, and I don't think Shanks stomps Mihawk's face into the ground. Haki is overhyped. Yeah, I think people start disregarding Devil Fruits a lot because Haki is just so talked about now. I think Devil Fruits are still really important. The Gura Gura, the Nika Nika, the Goro Goro, the Ope Ope, holy shit, Law and Kid's Devil Fruit, like they did most of the heavy lifting against Big Mom. Obviously Haki probably played a point. I think Devil Fruits are underrated more than Haki's overrated. I think Haki's really strong, but I think Devil Fruits are also just very underrated. Haki has made the power system less interesting to an extent, I would say. I think there were really hype moments with Haki. Like when Advanced Observation first got introduced, I was so fucking hyped, dude. That shit was so cool. It's like, oh, he can see into the future? What the fuck? But then Luffy got all 3 types of advanced Haki, and that felt really lame, so I kind of agree with this, but you know. Katakuri is overrated as fuck. I love Katakuri. I think he's the best Yonko commander. He's one of my favorite characters. I think he has debatably Luffy's best fight, maybe. I love Luffy versus Blueno and Luffy versus Lucci as well. Katakuri is like an amazingly written character. If we're talking about strength-wise, no, I think he's pretty fine where he is. Obviously, Kaido did one-shot Snake Man Luffy, who scales to Katakuri, but honestly, I don't think King is like one-shotting Katakuri, but I think Katakuri could easily find out about King's Flame On, and I think Advanced Observation would do really good against King. I don't know who would win a fight between Katakuri and King. Maybe probably King just because of his flight advantage and because he has a better matchup against Katakuri. But honestly, I think the two are pretty relative to each other, and I think it's fine to like either or. I think either or is strongest. Roger isn't the strongest One Piece character of the verse because King of the Pirates is the title of power in Roger era. Sure. It could be either Roger, Rox, and Whitebeard in my opinion. I think those are the 3 strongest characters in One Piece. Or in. Sure. If you believe that, I guess it's fine. Luffy over Kaido. I know I got shit on for this. People say that Kaido lost against Luffy because he's tired, but at the same time, they puff up Kaido when he allows himself to get hit on purpose just to prove how much of a tank he is. Then when it comes to Luffy, okay, I agree with this. I think Luffy is stronger than Kaido. You could make an argument for either or, and I definitely think Luffy might not have the stamina to match Kaido, but man, Luffy took a lot of fucking hits in Onigashima. Luffy fell like 2 times, didn't he? I think it's a lot closer of a fight than people give credit for. If you're gonna say that Kaido like mid-diffs Luffy, and then you're gonna say that Luffy beats Big Mom, I don't care about your opinion. It's just bad. Another Shanks that easily sold the entire verse with 1 armor behind their back. This is what we call a garbage take. New Gen is so overrated. I mean, I also think they will surpass the old gen, but they're not there yet. They're not even close except Luffy, but even he is not there yet. I think Mihawk, Shanks, and Dragon are pretty fucking close to the new gen. I think Kaido is probably stronger than Akainu. I don't think Akainu showed anything. I think he's more relative to old Whitebeard than people think. Mihawk over Shanks. This is my exact take, so I agree. Any Admiral over old Garp. I don't think Kizaru is, or Fujitora or Green Bull at all. I think Sengoku and Garp are stronger than all the Admirals besides Aokichi and Akainu. Long Kid over Zoro. Yeah, I agree. I think Zoro is probably one of the best examples of advanced Conquerors getting really overhyped. The dude literally learned Conquerors in 1 day, and now people think he's like god tier of god tier. Law and Kid are pretty fucking versatile fighters. I'll give it to Law and Kid. Aokichi over Big Mom. Maybe. Marco over Zoro. Maybe. I don't think so at this point. I think Marco could definitely tank some hits from Zoro better than King. And I think Marco's faster than Zoro, like a lot faster than Zoro. But man, that advanced Conquerors probably is going to take him out. And Zoro's really good at taking hits. Shanks is the weakest of the OG Yonko. You can make an argument for this. I personally wouldn't. I think he's probably a little stronger than Kaido. This is honestly a pretty okay take. I don't think he's weaker than old Whitebeard though. I will say that. That picture is garbage. Anybody who thinks Danelle can scale against any young commander, let alone Admiral, is delusional. Fucking facts. Akainu over Roger is just not. I love you, Shadow Warrior, but it's not the take, man. I'm sorry. Shiki is way too overrated. Ending it all off with the boy Shiki. I think Shiki isn't underrated. I think he's really strong. To feel like you have a chance against both Garp and Sengoku at the same time and to challenge Roger with no. Shiki has no broken allies. He doesn't have Rayleigh. He doesn't have Odin. He doesn't have Katakuri, King, Marco. No. Shiki by himself challenged the Roger Pirates, which is debatably, besides the Rocks Pirates, probably the strongest crew in existence. Maybe the straw. Nah, I don't think so even. Like, I think Prime Roger, Prime Rayleigh, and Prime Gabon, insane. I think Shiki isn't overrated. I think Shiki's actually very underrated. But yeah, that's the vibe. That's the day. That's the poll. I'll see you later. Check out this video where I rank every single One Piece character, and I will see y'all later.